The two are Raphael Lavoie and Xavier Bourgault. That's who I think a lot of fans, those are the names they've heard of the most. Those are the two guys who I think probably stood out the most last year. One, because he's a first-round pick. One, because he just had a great resurgence in Raphael Lavoie. Let's look at these numbers here that Lavoie put up last year as well. 45 points in 61 games. That's all. 25 goals is really, really good. And like whenever I would see the clips float around on Twitter of his goals, like this wasn't a guy who was just banging in little backdoor tap-ins and stuff. He was scoring goals a lot of the time. Out of those two, is there one that you think is more likely than the other to make a jump?
For the logical and logistic reasons around it, I think Lavoie will be the one to make the jump because he's waiver eligible this year. Plus, he's a right-handed shot, 6 foot. What is he? 6'3", I think. So, like 6'4". Sorry, he fits nicely into the plans there for the others. A big thing for him is he's struggled with consistency over his career. Like the numbers last year, he had 26 points, but there was a point early in the season where he went on like a 20-game skid with nothing. Like he was just scoring bunches. It looks like he's kind of put that behind him a little bit. Scoring 25 goals in that league is legit. I think if he wants to play in the Oilers team next season, like you've got to be patient with him. I think he's probably going to be in and out of the lineup most nights, but if he can get into a groove, he's a guy you'll want to be in the team most nights because he can score goals, and that's what the Oilers drafted him to do back in 2019.
Yeah, I think like he's a guy, with Bourgault, or let's compare the two a little bit here. Bourgault, first round pick, younger. I don't think you want that guy coming up to be your 12th or 13th forward.
No.
With Raphael Lavoie, I think you're probably okay with that. If there are games where he's out of the lineup, if he's got to come and like really fight just to get those third, fourth line minutes, I actually think that's okay because we're getting to the point. When's he turn 23?
September 25th.
So this is his 23-year-old season coming up. It's kind of make or break time for that guy in his NHL career. This is like, can you make the jump and become a legit NHL guy, or are you going to be the forever quad A player? Are you going to be a guy who's in Europe in 2 years? Like this is kind of a make or break year. And I think it's one of those where you're not worried about his development anymore. You're worried about him showing he can be an NHLer.
And I think if he does show up to training camp and isn't showing that he can be that guy, look at what Dmitry Smirkov got you last summer, right? Like I think Ken Holland wouldn't hesitate to move on from a guy like this, but it is very beneficial for him that he's a right shot and the others have nothing there. So I agree. 3 years as a pro now, like it's time for him to make the jump and see what you can get. If you can get like 5 to 10 goals out of this guy next season, like you're in a, like I would say 10 would be the lowest.
Yeah, you'd want him to hit double digits just based on his draft pedigree, what he did in the American League last year.
But be patient with him if he comes. As for Bourgault, he needs to be the guy in Bakersfield this season. Like he actually had a pretty good year. I can't remember his numbers off the top of my head, but
you have him here.
I guess I do have my laptop and I have his tab. 34 points in 62 games. But
so I think this year you're probably looking for him to double that goal output, right?
I would look for 25 goals from him.
Take a Lavoie jump.
Pretty much. And then he's probably the first guy you call up. First or second guy you call up.
If you have a top 6 injury, something like that.
Yeah, but again, you don't want this guy just sitting around in the stands all night, right? He needs to be getting reps. And Ken Holland's a very patient GM, and I think Woodcroft's in a similar mindset too. So I think they're going to be fine with Bourgault going down there and being the guy.
So Lavoie, I think we're kind of saying like he'll be in the mix. He's fighting for a spot come training camp. It'll also help that he's got a relatively cheap contract as well. Is he an RFA coming this summer, or is he?
Yes.
Okay, so like again, that's a guy who, if he wants to sign for $750K, he's doing himself favors at that point, right?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, he probably will. He has no arb rights or anything like that.